The benefits from OneBiosecurity are there for your resources, your production system, and your trading. And it is holistic. It's not just one thing or this or that. It's across the whole of industry. So it includes all of you as individual producers. It certainly includes the agents and the processors. It focuses, has the potential to focus on local regions, both for trade and for our state as well. And those that have trialled the program before we launched it were raving about how it was helping them change practice. It was an education tool for them. It certainly provides linkages and trade access. So the on-farm benefits and the trade benefits are there for those who get on board with OneBiosecurity. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of OneBiosecurity, there's this word biosecurity. Back when I was at uni, which is many years ago, I don't think it was even a word. I don't think it was even talked about. So we hear some of these big words and we think we know what it means. Well, I'm going to tell you what biosecurity means because it's quite simple. From the Greek, bio means life, living things. Security, as we know, is protection, safety. There's that word, welfare. Welfare isn't just about RSPCA, it's what you do. You on your farm are all about welfare. Because if you weren't, you wouldn't have a business. So very simply, we can define as protecting living things from threats. That's really what it is. And those threats, as you know, can be infectious diseases, poisons, chemical residues, could be nutritional disorders, could be weather events like we're having now, could be people, like people who thieve stock, and there's those around. So threats can mean anything. And you'll see biosecurity defined in certain ways if you Google it, but I'm just going back to the Greek. It's protecting living things from threats. And you know, threats will weaken your production system, they're costly, they break down resilience to your business and reduce your revenue and profit. So from a farm point of view, farm biosecurity can be defined simply as preventing and managing threats to the welfare of the living things that are beneficial to your production system. And so we could say, where do we start? And where would you start as livestock producers in preventing and managing threats to the welfare of the living things that are beneficial to your production system? Where do you reckon you'd start?
Know your system.
Yeah, know your system. This is where I'm saying, well, these are the things that it builds. We'll move through those, but the place to start is you. Not many people think that that's a place to start, but it is, because you're a living thing, and you're essential to your livestock system. So your physical, mental, emotional, social well-being, your spiritual as well, because you're more than just a bunch of chemicals, contrary to what you're told. So all of those make up who you are. And if you're not looking after your own biosecurity, which is making sure you're managing, preventing threats to you, then you're not going to be much good looking after your animals, are you? Because you're really, a lot of this, as we've heard today, all of this is going to determine how well you're making decisions on your property. So you've got to start there with yourself. How is your own personal biosecurity? How are you going to preventing and managing threats to your own welfare? Not just you, we've talked about your family, your staff. People resources are vital to your business. Good people biosecurity leads to wise decision making and productive labour. So a lot of people think biosecurity, oh yeah, I do a bit of that, oh it's out there. No, it's essential to your business because it starts with you. The next area, people think soil, it's not live. Yes it is. It's full of living things, microflora, fauna. It's the engine room of your production system. How healthy is your soil? How well are you managing and preventing the threats to your soil, to the health of your soil? I heard someone talking out there about some mining their soil and their pasture. Well, are you a miner or a builder of your soil? Is what you're adding to it helpful or harmful? Are you working with the living system or against it? Nick was talking about that. How well are we doing at working with the people that we work with? How well are we doing working with our living system that is the generation, it really generates our production system? Are we managing and preventing threats to the health and welfare of our soil? We're doing it well. The next area is plants, obviously. And the same applies to that. They're essential to the well-being of the livestock grazing business, as you know, whether they're green or whether they're dry. They're still essential to your livestock raising business. And so that's why I'm helping you understand, hopefully, that biosecurity is essential to your livestock business because it affects you, your soil, your plants, obviously your livestock. And if you have good biosecurity in yourself, soil and plants, that's going to flow on into good biosecurity in your livestock system. And livestock biosecurity is all tied into nutrition, so you can do seminars on nutrition, you can do it on genetics, you can do it on reproduction, you can go to something on trading, you can do one specifically on animal health. They're all tied together on biosecurity because in every one of those, you can look at how well you are preventing and managing the threats to the welfare of your livestock system. So, hence, that's why we ended up with OneBiosecurity, because it's fundamental to the health of every aspect of your production system. If you're running livestock, if you're just cropping, well, it's fundamental to that. If you're just selling soil, well, it's fundamental to that. And if you're managing people, it's fundamental to that. Biosecurity is number one. That's where we came up with OneBiosecurity. That's where it was born from. And it focuses on what you do on your farm. And we've made it fairly simple because we've made it an online system. And some people don't like online stuff, but sorry, that's the way we've gone. And no apologies, because I'm sure you all do online banking, and if you want to get into CFS and find out how to protect your property, that's all online, and if you want to do anything nowadays, it's online. So we've moved into the 21st century in both in PIRSA and in the industry, and so an online system enables you to go through some questionnaires that are tick box, very simple, outlining the key components of a good biosecurity system. It looks at every one of those and gets you to mark down what you do on your farm. And in one sense, what you put down is no right or wrong. What you're putting down is what you do. That's your starting point. And that's what we found with the people that did the trials. They said, this is fantastic because it's got me thinking about what I actually do. I've never done it before. And so often we've had benchmarking and training programs for what we do in mating animals or in the genetic side or what we feed them. Very rarely have we had that with biosecurity. So you go through, you do a biosecurity questionnaire, and it gives you a rating with really the accepted biosecurity standard throughout Australia as what really Alan was talking about. Then you can do endemic disease risk rating modules where you can look at specific diseases, whether it be for sheep or cattle, and develop, by doing those and adding other things if you want to, you can develop your own property profile. It's a voluntary program, just like the LPA, but we certainly want every producer with a PIC number in South Australia to be registering and putting a profile on there. It will involve an audit verification component to it. So because it's online, it actually makes it easy to audit along with NLS data and other information systems that we have and markets. So we can do an online audit, then we can do on-farm audits, we can correspond those with LPA so you're not getting audited out of your skin. So there's ways of doing it, because SADA with the dairy industry are doing yearly audits, so there's certainly other audit systems that we can join together with. Who can register and use the portal? Anyone with a PIC number. So all livestock producers with a active PIC, and certainly livestock agents can also get a registration. Sale yards, abattoirs, we're even looking for private vet clinics, and potentially people that are livestock consultants as well. Because, as I said before, it's all about partnership, and it's all about communication and transparency. And as Alan said, that's where we are now. That's where we are in this world. We're not about hiding behind a tree and doing what we do. We're actually presenting and providing a product, a really premium product. We're not into commodities anymore, hopefully. So the benefits to your livestock business, it really directs you to focus on biosecurity as a key driver. And Hamish was saying before, it's so important to be planning. And we can, and we do, we're not that happy with the way things are going at the moment, but the beauty of when things are going tough, often that's a great time to be thinking about the business and making some decisions and planning ahead. It's not often when times are going well that we actually make too many changes. It's when times are going tough that we often learn to readjust and make some changes that are going to be best for the future. So now's a good time to be getting on to OneBiosecurity. It'll help you benchmark your livestock biosecurity practices. It promotes, encourages, educates best practice. And the other thing is, as Alan was pointing out, the livestock declarations, whether it be cattle or sheep, are good, but how many of you have seen them if you go to a government market, or if you go to a first cross use sale, or if you go to a heifer sale? How many of you see those documents before you buy the stock? I'd say close to zero, because I know the system. So the beauty of an online system, and I'm not knocking what Alan's saying, I'm saying they're very important documents, but the problem with those documents are on a bit of paper and they're stuck away behind the scenes. So if you're looking to buy privately, you want to actually be asking for that document before you even choose to buy the stock. This enables you to be able to look, and that's why everyone needs to be on it, whether you're a buyer or a seller, and you need to be able to see what do people do, not just what do the stock look like, whether they nice and brown or shiny or whatever, but what they do on their farm, what their practices are. Do they align with what you're on about? And that includes the disease risk ratings and all those sorts of things. So that's really OneBiosecurity program. We all need to be on it because it provides the only credible framework for risk-based livestock trading. That's what we're in now. We're no longer in a system where PIRS's going to be putting quarantines on places, but we're also not in a system where PIRS, like other government departments in other states, are going to step back and say, you're on your own, go for it and see what happens. No, that's where this comes in. That's why it's an industry-driven thing. It's not just PIRS is saying, here's a framework for us to actually have really top risk-based livestock training, not just hope you go out and do it. Encourages decision-making that is wise, transparent, safe, reliable, all those words that MLA have when they're trying to sell your product. So it provides a platform for promoting a business. So those of you that are into selling livestock, whether you're ram breeders or first cross use sellers or whatever you want to sell, it provides a wonderful platform for you to promote your business. And in the past, a lot of PIRSA programs haven't been about promoting business, they've been about trying to deal with disease control. In this case now, here's a program that you can actually say, hey, look what I do, this is what I do, and I do it well. Greater, more accessible information to make purchasing decisions, a more equitable system for trading, greater trading confidence, more trading options, greater transparency throughout the production chain. And as I said, whether you're buying or selling, you need to be on it. Buyers need to know what they're buying, and sellers need to promote their business and expect desires to be checking out who they are and what they do, as our consumers are doing. So there's also administrative benefits. As Alan pointed out, you're going to need a biosecurity plan if you want to be on the LPA, and most of you would want to be on that. So here's a really quick, easy way to not just have one and tick the box and say I've done it, it's in my file, but actually have a living system that works for you and is actually helping you make decisions in the way you run your business. It's also mandatory for JBAS if you're with cattle. It will provide a pre-filled sheep or cattle health declaration, so it's going to save you time and not waste your time. Some people say, I don't want to get online and do all that sort of stuff. No. Spend 1 hour getting set up on OneBiosecurity will save you a lot of time in the future. And not only that, it sounds like selling knives, but steak knives, but it goes beyond just you on your property. It has a fantastic ability to build up what you do on your farm, but it goes beyond that. It provides credible assurance to our international markets, and they're requiring biosecurity as a up front and centre, and not just from LPA's point of view, and we have to feed it through there. They come to PIRSA, to us, to our Chief Veterinary Office, and say, what's the biosecurity like in your state? And at the moment we say, we don't know. We don't have any information. We get a system like this in our state, they'll be able to say, this is what we do in our state. There's no other country in the world doing anything like this, no other state doing it. Improves government industry disease surveillance, so that's another thing that PIRSA is required to do, is provide evidence that we have our fingers on the pulse at every stage of the game throughout the year as far as disease control in South Australia as far as seeking out to see if we have any diseases that our industry partners don't want. So it gives another ability for us to be able to have more credibility and more structure to our disease surveillance system. And the final one as an industry point of view is, if, we hope it doesn't happen, but if there's an exotic disease outbreak, or if there's one that we're trying to keep away, as there many are, it gives us a better ability to prevent those things happening. The more biosecure we have people throughout the state, the more we're going to be able to prevent them coming in. Not only that, we're going to be better prepared for what if it does come in. Our response time will be better, and our recovery, that's probably the most important, because if one ever comes, the recovery will determine how fast you get some money back in your pocket again, because if that industry is out of action of selling meat for 1 month, or 2 months, or 3, that's better than 6 months and a year. It's online, they're the benefits for being online, and it's all about communication, transparency, the ability to be able to make flexible changes as you improve, and verification is much better, and you can continually be promoting your enterprise and the livestock industry. That's what the front web page looks like, the home page. And for those of you who haven't logged on, you would hit here and begin the registration process. Then once you've registered onto the MyPERSA registration, then you come in here and log on, and in you go, and then you set up your profile. Very simple. And the for those that are sheep producers, you know that the abattoirs, certainly at TFI and soon to be JBS, are also providing enhanced abattoir surveillance. So it gives the opportunity for that to be downloaded straight onto your profile. Much better access to that than you have had in the past. And agents, as I said, can get online. They can produce placards for selling stock for their clients. OneBiosecurity meets the demands of trade partners, and that's all that Alan was talking about: integrity, safety, transparency, traceability. So, for the sake of your business, your livestock production, your livestock industry, you need to register now for OneBiosecurity. It's not my program, it's not PERSA's program, it's your program, and it's for the benefit of this state and for your system. So, I'll leave it there.